Most men over 50 have heard the same advice for decades. Drink more water, stay hydrated, carry a bottle with you, aim for 8 glasses a day, take care of your body. And many of them did exactly that. They bought the oversized water bottles. They set reminders on their phones. They started every morning with a tall glass. They tried to do the responsible thing. And yet, despite all that effort, a lot of them still wake up tired. Their energy is lower than it used to be. Their motivation feels weaker. Their legs feel heavy. Their focus fades too early in the day. Their body just does not respond the way it once did. So they start asking the same questions. Why do I feel drained when I am doing everything right? Why does my body feel older than I feel inside? Why am I drinking all this water and still not feeling truly refreshed? Here's the truth almost nobody explains clearly. If you are over 50, plain water is still essential. You absolutely need it. But plain water alone does not give your body everything it now needs to support strong circulation, steady energy, and healthy vascular function. That is the missing piece. Because after 50, the challenge is not just hydration. The challenge is what your body can no longer produce efficiently on its own. And once you understand that, your morning glass of water stops being just water. It becomes an opportunity to support the chemistry behind better blood flow, better oxygen delivery, and better day-to-day vitality. So before we go further, do me a quick favor. If you care about aging with strength, clarity, and self-respect, hit the like button now. Leave a comment and tell me where you are watching from. I genuinely enjoy seeing this community of men from all over the world deciding they are not done yet. And if you have not subscribed, subscribe now, because every week I share practical, evidence-informed strategies designed to help men over 50 feel more capable in their own bodies again. My name is Dr. Narita. I am a board-certified urologist, and for years I have worked with men who come into the clinic saying things like this. Doctor, I do not feel like myself anymore. My energy is fading. My body feels slower. I wake up tired, I crash in the afternoon, and by evening I have nothing left. I am trying to age well, but it feels like something underneath the surface is changing. And in many of these men, when you look deeper, one recurring issue keeps showing up. Not always dramatic, not always obvious, but biologically significant. It is a decline in nitric oxide. If you are not familiar with nitric oxide, you should be, because this tiny molecule plays an enormous role in how well your body functions, especially as you get older. Nitric oxide helps your blood vessels relax and expand. That matters because when blood vessels can open properly, blood moves more easily through your body. Your heart does not have to push as hard. Your muscles receive more oxygen. Your brain receives better blood flow. Your tissues receive more of the nutrients they need. You tend to feel sharper, warmer, more capable, and more physically responsive. In other words, nitric oxide supports one of the most important systems in your body, circulation. And circulation affects almost everything. It affects how energetic you feel in the morning. It affects how quickly you recover after physical effort. It affects how your legs feel after walking. It affects your exercise tolerance. It affects your blood pressure. It affects mental clarity. It even affects confidence, because when your body feels responsive, your entire mindset changes with it. The problem is that nitric oxide production tends to decline with age. That decline can begin gradually in midlife and become more noticeable after 50. Why? Because the systems involved in making nitric oxide are not immune to aging. The endothelium, the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels, becomes less efficient over time. Oxidative stress builds up. Inflammation interferes. Lifestyle factors compound the problem. And slowly, many men start operating with less nitric oxide than their body once had. They may not know the name of the molecule, but they often feel the consequences. They feel it when they get winded more easily. They feel it when physical activity takes more out of them than it used to. They feel it in that mid-afternoon slump that seems to come earlier every year. They feel it in the slow loss of edge, sharpness, and stamina. And this is where so much confusion begins. Because most men assume the answer is simply more water, more coffee, or more willpower. But hydration and stimulation are not the same thing as vascular support. Water helps maintain fluid balance. It helps regulate temperature. It helps with digestion, circulation volume, and cellular function. It matters tremendously. But water alone does not provide the specific nutritional compounds your body uses to support nitric oxide pathways. Think of it this way. Imagine your body is a factory. Water keeps the factory running. It keeps the belts moving. It keeps the machinery cooled and functional. But if the raw materials do not arrive, production slows down. The building is open, the lights are on, the workers are there, but nothing important is being made. That is what happens in many men over 50. They are hydrated but undersupplied. And once you understand that distinction, the solution becomes much more practical. Because there are natural compounds you can add to your water that do more than hydrate you. They help support nitric oxide production. They help protect nitric oxide from breaking down too quickly. They help support healthier vascular responses, and when used consistently, they can become part of a morning routine that actually addresses one of the underlying biological reasons many men feel older than they want to feel. So let's talk about the first and most important ingredient, beetroot. If there's one addition I wish more men over 50 knew about, it is beetroot powder. Not beet juice loaded with added sugar, not canned beets drowned in syrup, and not the occasional slice of beet on a salad. I am talking about concentrated beetroot powder used intentionally. Why beetroot? Because beetroot is naturally rich in nitrates, and those dietary nitrates can be converted by your body into nitrites and then into nitric oxide. That is powerful, especially because this pathway becomes increasingly relevant as we age. You see, one of the reasons beetroot is so useful is that it provides a kind of alternate route. As the body's normal nitric oxide production becomes less efficient with age, dietary nitrate gives you another way to support the same goal. That matters, because older blood vessels often do not respond the way younger blood vessels do. And many men need support that works with the biology they have now, not the biology they had at 32. This is one reason beetroot has been studied so heavily in relation to blood flow, exercise performance, and vascular health. Men often describe the effect not as a stimulant rush, but as a cleaner kind of support. They feel steadier. Their walking feels easier. Their stamina improves. Their body feels less resistant. That is what makes it valuable. It is not about hype. It is about helping blood move more efficiently. Now let me be clear. Beetroot is not magic. It is not a replacement for exercise, sleep, or proper medical care. But as part of a daily routine, it can be one of the simplest evidence-based additions a man makes for his circulation. A practical starting point is 1 to 2 teaspoons of beetroot powder in a large glass of water in the morning. It has a deep, earthy flavor. Some men love it immediately. Some take a few days to get used to it. And that brings us to the next ingredient, which not only improves the flavor profile, but also adds its own meaningful benefit. Pomegranate. Pomegranate is one of the most underrated additions to this kind of drink. If beetroot helps support nitric oxide production, pomegranate helps support nitric oxide preservation. That distinction matters, because producing nitric oxide is only part of the equation. Keeping it available long enough to do its job is the other part. As men age, oxidative stress becomes a bigger issue. That means helpful molecules can break down more quickly. Inflammation, poor sleep, metabolic stress, and years of wear on the system all contribute. Pomegranate is rich in polyphenols and antioxidants, compounds that help protect the vascular environment. In simple terms, beetroot helps you make more of what you need and pomegranate helps protect what you make. That is why the two work so well together. One helps turn on the faucet, the other helps keep the flow from disappearing too quickly. This is also one reason pomegranate has been associated with benefits related to blood vessel function and cardiovascular support. It works on the environment, not just the input. And when you are over 50, the environment inside the body matters more than ever. A good amount is about 1 teaspoon of pomegranate powder or a small serving of unsweetened pomegranate concentrate added to the same morning glass. It deepens the color, it improves the taste, and it adds another layer of support to the drink. Now we go one level deeper, because there is another important pathway involved in nitric oxide production, and this is where a third ingredient becomes especially useful: L-citrulline. This one does not get talked about nearly enough outside of sports nutrition circles, but it deserves attention from older men. L-citrulline is an amino acid. Your body can convert it into L-arginine, and L-arginine is one of the key building blocks used in nitric oxide production. So while beetroot works through the dietary nitrate pathway, L-citrulline supports the amino acid pathway. That is important because now you are not relying on just one route. You are supporting nitric oxide from multiple angles. And in physiology, layered support is often more effective than putting all your hope into a single mechanism. Another reason L-citrulline is so useful is absorption. A lot of people assume taking L-arginine directly is the obvious answer. But L-citrulline is often preferred because it tends to be handled more efficiently by the body and can raise arginine levels more effectively over time. In plain English, it is often the smarter delivery system. Men who add L-citrulline to a routine like this often describe better exercise tolerance, improved pump during activity, and a stronger sense that their body is responding again. Not in a dramatic overnight way, in a cumulative way, a more supportive baseline, a little more blood flow, a little more endurance, a little less heaviness. And over time, those little differences add up. A common starting amount is around half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon, depending on the product and concentration. It usually blends easily and has a fairly mild taste, so it works well in the same glass with beetroot and pomegranate. Now, once you understand those three ingredients, you understand the foundation. Beetroot helps provide dietary nitrates. Pomegranate helps protect the nitric oxide environment. L-citrulline helps support a second production pathway. That is your core trio. If a man over 50 did nothing but build consistency around those three, he would already be far ahead of where most people are. But there are also optional additions that can strengthen the formula without making it complicated. And this is where many men can personalize the drink. Let's start with lemon. A squeeze of fresh lemon does more than improve taste. It adds vitamin C and helpful plant compounds, and vitamin C plays a supportive role in protecting nitric oxide from oxidative breakdown. It also brightens the earthiness of beetroot and makes the drink easier to enjoy every morning. That matters because anything you dislike, you will eventually stop doing. Then there is ginger. Ginger brings a warm bite to the drink, but it also offers anti-inflammatory compounds that many men over 50 can benefit from. Remember, one of the things that interferes with healthy blood vessel function is chronic low-grade inflammation. You may not feel it directly, but it changes the background conditions inside the body. Ginger can help support a healthier internal environment while adding depth to flavor. Then there is hibiscus. Hibiscus is rich in antioxidant compounds and has been studied for its supportive role in healthy blood pressure and vascular function. It also gives the drink a vibrant red color and a slightly tart, refreshing edge. For men who want their morning drink to feel more like a ritual and less like a supplement routine, hibiscus can make a big difference. Tart cherry is another smart addition. Why? Because older men are not just dealing with circulation. They are often dealing with recovery, soreness, inflammation, and poor sleep. Tart cherry supports the recovery side of the equation. It does not replace the nitric oxide ingredients, but it complements them by helping the body handle wear and tear more effectively. And then there is unsweetened cocoa powder. This surprises a lot of people. Good quality unsweetened cocoa contains flavanols that support endothelial function, which means it can help support the health of the blood vessel lining itself. That is incredibly relevant after 50. It also adds richness and turns the drink into something that feels more substantial. The key word here, though, is unsweetened. You are not trying to turn a vascular support drink into dessert. Now here's the part I want to emphasize. You do not need to throw 10 things into a glass and turn this into a chemistry experiment. That is where many people go wrong. They hear about 5 useful ingredients, then 7 more, then 12 optional boosters, and suddenly the habit becomes so complicated that they quit after 4 days. Do not do that. Start simple. Build the habit first. Your core formula is enough. Beetroot, pomegranate, L-citrulline, a squeeze of lemon. That is it. If you want to add ginger later, fine. If you want hibiscus, fine. If tart cherries help you stay consistent, great. But do not confuse more ingredients with better routine. The best routine is the one you will actually do every day. So what does this look like in real life? Very simple. Within the first 30 minutes of waking up, fill a large glass with water. Add 1 to 2 teaspoons of beetroot powder. Add 1 teaspoon of pomegranate powder or a small amount of unsweetened concentrate. Add half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of L-citrulline, depending on the product. Squeeze in fresh lemon. Stir it well. Drink it slowly or drink it steadily, whichever feels better for you. That is your morning start. Not coffee instead of water, not a sugary breakfast drink, not some synthetic energy formula. A real, intentional glass that hydrates you and supports one of the most important functions of healthy aging: circulation. Some men like to prepare a dry mix in advance. That can help a lot with consistency. You can combine the powders in a jar so that each morning you only have to scoop, mix, and drink. 10 seconds of effort. No decision fatigue. No excuses. And if you want to take it one step further, a second glass in the early afternoon can be useful, especially if you are the kind of man whose energy drops sharply around 2 or 3 p.m. That time of day is where many men start fading. Their focus softens, their motivation dips, their legs feel heavy. They start reaching for caffeine or sugar because they think they need stimulation. Often what they really need is support. Not a fake push, a better foundation. A second, lighter serving in the afternoon may help some men feel steadier through the rest of the day. Now, I also want to inject an important note of maturity and common sense here. If you have kidney disease, very low blood pressure, are taking nitrates for chest pain, are on blood pressure medication, use blood thinners, or have any medical condition where dietary changes or supplements could affect treatment, talk to your physician or pharmacist before starting this routine. That is not fear, that is intelligence. Good health is not built by ignoring context. And if you are diabetic or watching sugar intake, be mindful of extracts and powders with added sweeteners. Always read labels. The goal is to support your biology, not sabotage it with hidden ingredients. Now let me tell you why consistency matters so much. Because men often try something once or twice and decide whether it worked. That is not how biology works. Your body responds to patterns. Not one dramatic effort. Not one healthy morning after 6 unhealthy weeks. Not one burst of motivation followed by 10 days of neglect. Patterns. What changes the body is repetition. The men who get the most from routines like this are not the men looking for fireworks. They are the men willing to do small, smart things every day. That is what aging well actually looks like. It is not glamorous. It is disciplined. And the reward for discipline is that your body starts cooperating again. You wake up a little clearer. You move a little easier. You recover a little faster. Your day feels less like a struggle. Those are not trivial gains. Those are quality of life gains. And quality of life is what most men are really asking for. They are not asking to become 25 again. They are asking to feel present in their own life again, to have enough energy to enjoy an afternoon with family, to go for a walk without feeling depleted, to accept invitations instead of declining them, to stop feeling like the day is something they have to survive. I once had a patient in his mid-60s who came in describing exactly that. He said, "Doctor, I am not in crisis. I am just not myself." That line stayed with me because it captures what so many men feel. They are not necessarily sick enough to sound alarms, but they are functioning below what their life requires. He was drinking plenty of water. He was not reckless with his habits. He was trying. But by early afternoon, he was flat. His legs felt heavy. He felt less socially engaged, less interested, less capable. We talked about his broader lifestyle, of course. Movement, sleep, blood pressure, food quality, medications, all of it matters. But one simple change we added was this kind of nitric oxide support morning drink built around the core ingredients. He kept it simple. He stayed consistent, and after several weeks, the difference was noticeable. Not miraculous, meaningful. His afternoons improved. His walking felt easier. He reported feeling more mentally switched on. Most importantly, he stopped describing himself as fading. That is the point. When you support circulation, you are not just helping blood vessels, you are helping the experience of being alive in your own body, and that matters more than most men admit. Because there is an emotional side to all of this, a man can tolerate a lot of change if he understands it. What destroys morale is unexplained decline. When you feel yourself slowing down but no one ever tells you why, it starts to feel personal. It starts to feel like weakness, like failure, like something is slipping away and you are powerless to stop it. But when you understand biology, something changes. You stop blaming yourself. You start supporting yourself. You realize your body is not betraying you. It is asking for better inputs. And that is a very different conversation. So if you are over 50 and you have been drinking plain water thinking hydration alone was the whole answer, let me say this clearly. Keep drinking water. Do not stop. But understand that hydration is the baseline, not the full strategy. If you want to support circulation, energy, vascular function, and the kind of daily responsiveness that makes life feel livable again, your body may need more than plain water can provide by itself. That is where this morning glass becomes powerful, not because it is trendy, not because it is complicated, but because it is targeted. It meets a real age-related biological need with simple, practical ingredients. Beetroot, pomegranate, L-citrulline, lemon. Start there. Give it time. Stay consistent. Pay attention to how you feel. And do not underestimate what a basic daily habit can do when it is built around the right mechanism. Age does not automatically mean collapse. Getting older does not mean you must accept feeling half alive. And it certainly does not mean there is nothing you can do. Sometimes the body does not need a dramatic overhaul. Sometimes it needs support in the exact place where function has quietly declined. That is what this is about. Not chasing youth, restoring function. Not pretending you are 30, helping your body perform better at 50, 60, and beyond. Not searching for miracles, using intelligent consistency. If this message helped you today, press like so I know to keep making this kind of content. Subscribe if you believe men deserve honest, practical guidance for aging well. And in the comments, tell me 2 things: where you are watching from, and which ingredient you would try first. I read those comments, and I genuinely enjoy seeing men choose action over resignation. Take care of your body. Take care of your circulation. And remember, when blood flow improves, a lot of life improves with it. I will see you in the next one.